and we're going to be talking today about really communicating on social media during this time. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we dive in too much, I do want to let you all know that we are here to help. We've got a lot of resources that we've put together to help you to navigate these challenging times, and you can find a lot of information in this small business support kit. We'll have Rachel, who's behind the scenes, share the link in the questions window. But if you're looking to make a plan to help your business or organization get through this time, more resources such as webinars, and then it'll direct you to our community where you can go and connect with other small businesses if you're looking for inspiration or just kind of looking for some ideas to get through this time. So look for that in the questions window. Now, during this unprecedented time that we're all going through, we're really all just kind of trying to adjust to a new normal. Everything is changing, it's evolving, and it's really evolving on a super fast pace. From the way that you're doing business to how you're really marketing your business and communicating with your customers and your prospects. Social media is still just as important in today's world, and perhaps it's maybe even more important as data is really showing that consumers are out there and they're shifting their lives even more online, and they're doing that at a staggering pace. But as a small business, I know that a lot of you are probably really uncertain with how to proceed with marketing and doing it in a way that's sensitive during this time, which is a very popular question we'll be addressing today. So let's just see a little bit more about what we're going to cover in today's session. First, we're going to talk about some tips for actually marketing your business or organization on social media right now. And we're going to be trying to share as many tips and ideas to engage and communicate without sounding insensitive. And we're also going to be talking about how to actually create and manage your social media efforts from within your Constant Contact account, which is some features that we added over several months ago. So before we get into all the details, I just want to put a few faces with the names here and introduce my guest speakers for the day. My name is Stephanie French, and I'm actually the content manager for webinars here at Constant Contact, and I'll be facilitating the webinar today. First up, I want to go ahead and introduce Patrick Galuli. Hopefully I said his last name correctly, and I'll have you go ahead and say hello.
Sure. Hello, everybody. Really excited to be here. So I head up our social media marketing and advertising program for Constant Contact, but my background is also in higher ed. I was a journalist, worked with very large businesses and very small businesses, so hoping I can bring some insights for you all today.
And we also have Abby Chapin, and she's going to be going through a demo with us today. Abby, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi guys, it's great to be here. I'm super excited to show you the tools that we have in Constant Contact. A lot of people think that, you know, we're just email marketing, but no, we're way more than that. We have a bunch of new social marketing tools that we've implemented in our product within the past, couple of years. And I specifically am psyched to show you guys the our social posting functionality that we have. So thank you.
Thanks, Abby. Yeah, Patrick and Abby both have a lot of great information they're going to be sharing with us based off of their roles here at Constant Contact. So again, I want to thank you all both so much for taking the time to be here and share all this great information with our audience. All right, so I want to start off by talking about really what's happening in this world of online and even social media today. So Patrick, I know you've been doing a little bit of research on this. What are some of the changes that you're seeing in the world of social media and even how people are using it today?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything is changing so drastically, right? Just how we're using our devices, how we're entertaining ourselves, how we're doing business. It's just such a sea change in the world we live in. And talking about that staggering shift to our lives being online, we've got reports from Comcast that show that internet usage is up 32%, and in some areas up 60%. Video streaming and consumption is up 38%. AT&T is reporting a 40% increase in mobile traffic. And those are big numbers, and for many small businesses, it's hard to quantify, like what does that mean for you. What it means is that we're shifting, consumers are shifting their behavior online, and their activity online, and more often than not, that's going into social networks. So if you think about the audiences that are there, basically it means that getting your message out through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the like just becomes a lot easier because there's more people who are demanding more content. And Facebook in particular is seeing just an absolutely huge surge in usage. In fact, I know I'm going to Facebook even more than I usually do, and I work in this and I spend like 10 hours a day. So now I'm spending 12 hours a day on Facebook. And I'm sure everybody here can think of a time today, even where they looked at their Facebook stream, probably saw a post about, small businesses in their area and how they're coping. So it's just a huge, huge surge in what we would call inventory in the marketing speak, but opportunity for you to get your message out.
Yes, definitely. People are out there, they're using social media. Now, Abby, I know you had a little bit of information to share with us. What are we seeing people doing with constant contact social media tools?
So it's been amazing to see just to see the usage within Constant Contact product. Since we launched the ability to post on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter back in the fall, people have been connecting, but most recently the rise month over month stats, it's amazing. So we rose. People were connecting their social accounts using Constant Contact, and we saw that figure rise 48% from February to March. And social posts have also gone up 31% from February to March. And even with ads as well, you can run ads through Facebook and Instagram through Constant Contact. Even those ads have increased in this time well over 15%. So we're seeing a huge lift in people using the Constant Contact tools to get out their message on social media.
So definitely a huge opportunity out there for all of you, no matter what type of business or organization you have. So thanks for sharing that information with us to kick us off today. Now, Patrick, I've heard a lot of people say, a lot of experts in this area say that basics are still ringing true, even with everything that's going on during this crisis. What are some of the basics that people should keep in mind here?
Number one is absolutely just being present. So, the tips I would give you today are the tips I would have given you 6 months ago, and are the tips I would give you 6 months from now. But if you don't have a Facebook page for your business or your side hustle or your nonprofit, now's the time to set one up, right? You want to just be on these platforms so that you can use them as communication vehicles. You can drive business, you can drive signups to your email list, keep them within an ecosystem so you can support your business right now and also into the future. Actually, one kind of personal anecdote about why being present is important. There's a restaurant in my city. I wasn't following them on Facebook, but other people I did follow on Facebook kept sharing their posts so much that I started following them. Then I bought dinner from them. Then I contributed to a campaign they have going to feed frontline workers. So if they hadn't been active on Facebook, would I have seen their message at all? Probably not. So it's important to be there because you might reach new people, or you might reach the people you already communicate with well, just in a different channel.
Absolutely. Now, this situation in general is really just a good opportunity to keep people informed, really just because almost everyone who's joining us today, I'm sure your business has changed in one way or another, but do you have any examples of how small businesses are using social media to communicate right now?
The one that I love so much, and I think I've told everybody at Constant Contact over and over again, is several businesses in my town got together and teamed up on a bingo square card, and they all shared it on Facebook and on Instagram and on their other social accounts. And the purpose was, it was really well designed, right? It was designed so that you would go to the various businesses on different days, you would do different things within those businesses. And if you filled out one line of the bingo card, you got a $25 gift card to one of the businesses. And if you fill out the whole card, they give you a $25 gift card to every one of their businesses. And so it's driving demand right now for those businesses, and it's doing it in such a way that they're not competing for businesses. They're actually helping each other to grow in this moment and be successful.
Oh, we lost sound.
I really like that idea. Sorry, I think I was on mute. I really like that idea because I think it's really unique way to engage, and also just shows that you can support other businesses in your area. Now, Abby, did you have another example that you wanted to share in this area?
Yeah, so near me there's a local flower shop that I love to go to, and they are strictly an outdoor garden shop, and they were asked to shut down because they were a non-essential business, and I've gotten emails through them. They actually use Constant Contact, and they completely flipped around and created an online store. So they created a website, and they got reinstated to open back up business as a touchless shopping garden shop. So now they have this idea of, customers can drive by and point and pay all through without coming in contact with anyone. So they've completely transformed, their business from strictly email to then doing a website, and then they also now are taking advantage of social posting too through Constant Contact. So they're doing well, and it's great to see the community supporting that, and through their social posting. I noticed all my friends were sharing their posts, and that's really important. And people want to give back, and people want to help out small businesses. And this is the time to, if you as a small business need help, you've got your community, you've got us to rally around you to help you out. And that was a great testament to see that for this little flower shop.
Yeah, that's another unique situation. And I know we've got tons of different types of businesses out there, but I've seen B2Bs or businesses who have customers as other businesses. They're out sharing information to help those businesses during this time. The small business loan information to help out for nonprofits that they're sharing information on the way that they've had to change, whether it's a pet shelter, what are they doing to intake new pets and everything like that. So lots and lots of opportunity. Now, sharing helpful content is going to be really helpful during this time as well. It's something that can also help you as a small business to stay top of mind with your customers and even help you to get in front of new people for whenever they're ready to buy in the future. Patrick, do you have any suggestions for sharing some meaningful content during this time?
The big thing I've been telling folks who have asked me is to really just be honest right now. I don't think it is a sign of weakness to say you're struggling. I think there are a lot of people struggling. It's not just businesses as well, individuals who, might have job losses. And we want to rally around each other in this moment. So don't be afraid to kind of spell out exactly what's going on with your business and what's going on with your situation, and ask for help. People who can help you or, want to do so, just like Abby said. I've seen a number of posts that have been in the lens of, nonprofits and communities that say, hey, here's a list of all the restaurants and businesses that donated gift cards to us for our last fundraiser. Now let's go support them in their time of need. I've also seen one of our businesses that went out or that is closed right now, and the owner started running Facebook ads to support a GoFundMe for his employees so that they could have financial backing while the business was closed. And so he's probably spent a few $100s of his own money, but has raised several $1,000s for his employees. So there's some really unique ways you can think about using social media and do it in an honest way that is going to drive action to help keep you going during this time.
I really like that point about being honest about your situation, and because, other people individually are going through things like that too, and if they can, they can and they do want to help. Now, what about actually marketing on social media? Do you feel it's a good idea to market or sell products right now?
This is a tough one, and I have two kind of thoughts on it, but really it has to be kind of at the core of how you feel. Like if you feel like you need to market, it's not going to be offensive or obtrusive to people to see that you're marketing. So I would say that it is a yes, that you should and can market, your product, even if you're not essential right now, for two reasons. One is you're a business. You need to thrive when this is all over. People want to support businesses of all kinds. And so you just need to position it in the right way, to say, we have to keep going. We're still selling. I'm still at the store. If you need something, I'll come drop it off to you. And people will definitely buy. Number two is people need a diversion right now, right? I think we've hit the apex where we're all kind of done with turning on the TV and turning on our social feeds and reading always about the virus and the effects and the economy and all of those things. So people want just something else to get excited about, or to see, or to read, or to engage with. And in particular, this is, I think, for folks who are in the real estate and the travel industries, like this is your prime opportunity, right? I Everybody's laughing at me at work because I watch an like unnatural amount of webcams of beaches right now, particularly in Bermuda. So if you're providing content that gets to what you do, selling trips to Bermuda 6 months down the road, by showing me that these webcams exist that I didn't know about, I'm going to remember you when I definitely go to book that trip, because I am booking it as soon as I possibly can. So, think about your industry and how you can provide almost entertaining like content as a way to not sell now, but to prepare to sell in the future.
I really like that point about diversion. It's really great right now, and I think we're all probably going to be planning a trip to Bermuda or someplace after this, and hopefully that ends soon. Now, touching on non-essential businesses as well, I know people are really worried about feeling like they're being too insensitive. But I want to just share an example. A few months back, I actually saw an ad for a hair accessory company on Facebook. I ended up purchasing a few of their items because it's a hair accessory that you can put your hair up and it doesn't hurt, and it gives you all this volume and things like that. Now, if you think about it in today's world, no, they're not essential, but they're still out there and they're actively sharing content and information on their channels. So they're sharing videos on how to do hairstyles with these products. And then they've got their own users who are creating their own unique hairstyles, and they're sharing those. The company is just then resharing them with all of their fans and followers, because that's just user-generated content is really great anyway. Now, they're also sharing some really great details and information for nurses and doctors who are actually out on the front lines using their products, because it is such a secure hold for their hair and it's so much more comfortable. So they're just sharing some content like that. Again, they're not essential, but they're still actively engaging with people, and that's what's important. So I think in the end, if you're out there and you're sharing that helpful information, it can be a diversion, and in a way, indirectly sell your products as well. So now, big question here is, what tips do you have for creating content that isn't going to sound insensitive right now?
It is absolutely important to be thoughtful about what you're posting right now. So, the big trend in social for a long time was, what's the trending hashtag? How do we jump on the trending hashtag? How are we first to, a piece of news and jump on that? Now it's like, take a step back, take an extra second to think about what you're posting. In fact, I see a couple questions who are saying, I'm being asked to post X, and I'm not sure if it's the right thing to do, or I'm not sure how to do it. And those are the right ways to be thinking right now, right? Because you want to take an extra step and think, is this going to be something that adds anxiety to our readers when they post it? With illnesses growing, job losses growing, you want to frame everything that you do through the lens of how this will support. The hair care example is a really great example of how that one business pivoted to be thoughtful about selling in the lens of helping people who need it most right now. I know we're tossing a lot of anecdotes out, but I think it's best to see what's working and kind of figure out how that can work for your business. And there's definitely a place in my town, again, feeding frontline workers and healthcare workers, and that is very altruistic, but they actually at the same time have also been doing a coloring contest for kids, for parents in town. And as somebody who has 1 to 2 children who may or may not jump in on this webinar at any given moment, I'm very excited that they are offering something up like that. So they really thought about their audiences, right? They said, how can we support our community and our frontline workers? How can we support our parents at home who are struggling too? Because we're all struggling a little bit or a lot of it. And your business probably can help those people in more ways than you think, even if it's not your normal bread and butter.
I like that idea of the coloring, because I really agree. It doesn't all have to be regarding COVID. It can, again, go back to that diversion, be a little bit of relaxation for people at this time. I've seen a lot of questions, especially on the registration form, and I've seen a few come in here today. What about nonprofits? What tips do you have for nonprofits using social media right now?
Yeah, it's obviously, a slightly different angle that you have to take a look at. But nonprofits in general have always depended on emotional appeal. And so you can't meet face to face right now. Your volunteers are stuck at home. Your board's making requests of you that you might not be able to, going through email, so things are getting lost in translation. But this is a very powerful time to engage your community online. So social media is probably, for nonprofits in general, a vehicle that's more important than some of the traditional channels that you had available to you. And at the same time, there's never been a better opportunity to tap into the altruistic nature of those who are at home right now. Some people are in a position to be able to financially donate right now, and in fact, probably are sitting at home saying to themselves, I wish I could do more. All I am doing is sitting here. Luckily, I still have my job, and luckily, my family is healthy. So I've got a little bit of money. What can I do with it? The money right now speaks volumes. So your nonprofit probably has an opportunity to find those people and turn them into folks who can give right now. At the same time, some of your major donors might need to stop recurring donations temporarily. So you want to think about how you're using your tools, and this is an email marketing side, but you might start to split off the people in your email marketing who have said that they have to stop donating right now, and start messaging them in a different way to say, hey, we get it, we understand it, we're here for you, what can we do for you? And then when they get back on their feet, hopefully they're coming back at scale to help you when they can.
I definitely like your point about connecting emotionally. And I think not just for nonprofits, but as a for-profit business, you can really start to think that way as well in terms of, creating the right kind of messaging for all of the different goals and things that you want to post on social media. Now, we've got a lot of great information that's out there on our blog. So I'm going to have Rachel share a couple of links just to a couple of posts. And then if you're looking for more information, you can definitely do a search on the blog for more information on these topics. So keep an eye out for that in the questions window. Now, this next question is something I've seen a lot lately. What are your suggestions for actually growing a social following right now? I recently saw a question from someone. They wanted to use social media, but they were actually concerned about using it because they don't have a huge following, and they worried their message is just kind of going out there into outer space and not enough people are going to be seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand the fear. It's when you start something from zero to nothing, from zero, and you want to scale it up very quickly, it can be intimidating to figure out how you're going to get so many people to follow you and find your messages right now. And I would say that there's a couple things that you should always be doing right off the bat as you try to build a social community. One is tap into your other existing communities, right? So you probably or hopefully have an email list that you're using to communicate to your audiences. Email them and tell them to follow you on social media, right? Just start to get that number up, because then if they go on social and they share your post, then people follow off of that, and you get that duplicative effect. I'd also say now is the time to act really human, right? So there are Facebook mom groups in every town. There are newspaper pages in most towns on Facebook. And so as a business owner right now, the gates have kind of opened on some of those typically walled gardens, and you could go in there and you can start to post and say like, hey, my business is doing X, Y, and Z to support the community. Also have our Facebook page, so you should give us a follow if you can. But the key element there is you want to act as a human, right? You don't want to come in as Joe's Taqueria. You want to come in as Joe, the owner of Joe's Taqueria, and your personal Facebook account, and have a personal, human, what we would call human to human conversation in those types of groups if you're going to do that activity. But there's a million different ways to grow. Those are some of the bigger ones you want to hit right off the bat. But we'll see if we can find some more resources too to point people to.
I liked your point about being human. I've seen way too many where someone will comment on a post or in a group or even on like a YouTube video or something like that, and they're just strictly advertising their business, especially in today's world. If you were to do something like that, it's going to come off as a little bit forceful, a little bit spammy. So definitely make sure you're spending the time to really craft your message so that it feels genuine and that it's coming from you. Now, another big question that goes along with all of this, how often should people be communicating on social?
It is ultimately the million-dollar question, and I actually saw I think we got a question from Summer on this topic, so luckily we'll be able to tick this one off for you, Summer. And I think the answer is obviously dependent. And in this is where I would err from where I might have told you 6 months ago or a year ago that you should be posting a couple times a week on most channels, to say that you probably can post every day now. And in some cases, maybe you can post multiple times a day. And the reason, there's a couple reasons there, right? Is like the activity on Facebook means that Facebook is looking for more and more content from pages and advertisers and people to serve up into people's news feeds. So whereas the algorithm used to hold us back, now it's kind of freed up and it's letting your message actually get into the stream in a better way. And so you definitely can post safely once a day. That being said, make sure you're saying something valuable. Don't post just to post. So post when you have something to say, when it's meaningful, and when it's going to contribute to the overall dialogue.
Definitely. And I like the point there too, because with more and more people on social media, that also means those feeds are going to be refreshing a lot with all of the newer content. So definitely an opportunity again there as well. Let's touch base on social ads, because I think it was Abby who was talking about how people are still using paid advertising on social media. But could you talk about how small businesses can really find some value right now with this tool?
So typical to how, or similar, I should say, how we talk about more opportunity in the feed for your organic content to bubble up, there seems to be more opportunities for advertising inventory within some of these platforms as well. So we understand, like, totally right now is a financially tight time. You don't want to spend when you're not unsure of what the results are going to be, but at the same time you can probably reach a much larger audience than you could have even 4 or 5 weeks ago for the same amount of money. So Steph, you and I have given a webinar a couple times where we say, if you've never done social advertising before, start with $100 and just see what you can learn by playing around with the tool and understanding what you get out of that. Again, if you had done that 5 weeks ago and you had done it now, that $100 might have gotten you 50, 100, 200% more reach than you would have gotten, but by doing nothing else other than this huge influx of activity on the platform. So we get it, like, you got to be cautious with how you're thinking about money right now, but if you can spend a little bit on ads, it is probably going to go a long way.
Definitely another good opportunity, and not something to think that people aren't just buying. Like we said, a lot of people out there can and are willing to spend money with you. So the tools that Abby and Patrick have mentioned, we have these ad tools within Constant Contact, and it's so much easier than if you were to go out to the native platform on Facebook and create your ads there. Super easy if you've never created any ads before. You can create Facebook and Instagram ads if you want to drive business or drive traffic to your website or drive sales. And then there's even the lead ads, which for those of you who are looking to grow your email list, that's definitely something I'd suggest checking out. So at this point, I want to go ahead and switch gears, because I want to make sure we have enough time to demo the products that Abby's going to show us, and then also get to the Q&A at the end, because we have so many wonderful questions that are coming in. So Abby, I'm going to go ahead and hand the controls back over to you.
Okay, great, thank you. I'm going to share my screen. Thanks, everybody. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
What I'm hearing? Perfect. All right, so right now, what I'd like to demo for you guys is showing you the social functionality that we have within Constant Contact. So, as I said earlier, a lot of people don't know, but that we're not just email marketing anymore. We've got all these other social tools, and one of the things that we released over a year ago is the ability to post to both Facebook and Instagram, and we just recently released Twitter. And in a couple weeks, we're going to be releasing LinkedIn. So you'll have the ability to post to Facebook and Instagram and Twitter currently, and then you can monitor the conversations too within Constant Contact. So I'm going to get started and show you how to do that. If you go into the main navigation within Constant Contact and click on the social tab, you'll come to a non-connected page. So this is where you'll be able to connect your social accounts. If you choose this Connect Social Accounts button, we're going to connect Facebook first, and let's do that. So if we choose Facebook, it already knows that I'm logged in, like as the personal account that is behind this. But then I need to authenticate my credentials with Facebook, and here it's asking me, basically it's asking me permissions for Constant Contact to post and to manage an inbox on my behalf. So basically what that does is it lets the two programs like connect behind the scenes. So if I choose OK, I'm then presented with all the business pages that are associated with my personal Facebook account. And here I have my own side hustle called Dear Abby Gardening, appropriately named. And I'm going to save that. And when I save that, that adds it to my account in Constant Contact. And now you'll see that we do land on the social, we call the social dashboard, where you have the ability to, you have an inbox where you can monitor the conversations back and forth with Facebook and Instagram. You can look at all your posts that you've done with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can see analytics on your accounts. And then finally, we're going to go back over to the accounts tab where you can add more networks. So from there, you'll see that I have a Facebook, my business page. You can see that it's one active. That's the one I just connected. I'm going to add the Instagram account now. Now, if you'll notice that it immediately goes right into Instagram, and that's because I have made sure that in Facebook that my Instagram account, I gave permissions from my Instagram account to be connected with my Facebook account. We do have an FAQ on this, which we can share in the sidebar if you're not sure on how to do that, because it happens outside of Constant Contact. But once you get that all set up, you should be able to see what pages are available to you. And I'm going to select the Dear Abby Gardening page, and I'm going to save that. And now that is also added to my account. And I've got two accounts connected. And then for the final one, I'm going to connect Twitter. So with Twitter, again, it's going to ask me for permissions to for the two apps to speak. So I'm going to authorize that. And then I will be prompted with, just confirm that this is the page that I want to connect or the profile that I want to connect from Twitter. And I just choose save. And then if I go back to accounts, I'll show you that I have all three accounts connected, which is great. And in a couple weeks, yay, we're going to have LinkedIn there too. So we're super excited about that as well. So now what I really want to focus on is creating a post and showing you how easy it is to do in Constant Contact. So you'll see the create button up here on your far right. And if you choose create and you select social post, you'll be prompted with this create post modal, where you'll see that all three of my accounts that I have connected, I just have to select them. So I'm going to select all three. And then you'll see as I'm selecting them that they're building out on the right-hand side. So it's a preview for you. So it's going to show you what it's going to look like, pretty much what it'll look like on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which is really, really cool. And what I'm going to do is I have some prefab text that I wanted to put in here. So let me paste this in. And then I want to put in a URL, a link that I'd like to put in here too. And you'll see that what's really neat about this is that if there's a preview function available within any of the networks, you'll get that preview. So like when you paste a URL into Facebook or Twitter, it'll give you a link preview. It'll see it when you're actually in that native network. So it's really cool that we've actually built that out here too, so you can see what it's going to look like. You can decide to use that preview or not. And you'll see here for Instagram that preview isn't showing up. And the reason for that is because URLs do not work on Instagram. For those of you that may not know, Instagram is very image focused, and any URL that you paste in there is not clickable. So so the great part about that, and why I'm saying that, is that we do suggest that you don't want to, we do suggest that you want to have your messaging different based on the networks that you're posting to. So we've created this really cool feature within the create post modal where you can just choose create variations. You click this button and it will automatically create 3 tabs for you where you can cater your message per network and still send it out all at once, but your message is catered to you, or to the users of the network. So I'm going to make that, I'm going to make a few changes right now. So for instance, for Instagram, I'm going to take out that URL and I'm actually going to put in something a little shorter in terms of a message, because Facebook tends to, the messaging can be longer, but for Instagram and for Twitter, keeping a message short and sweet is a good thing, and also making sure that, especially for Instagram, you have to have an image. So I'm going to upload an image from my library and post that in there too. So another good thing to note is that if you want to get interaction and you want to get people to look at your posts and to comment and interact with your brand, ask them a question. It's a great way to drive to drive interaction with your brand, and also to make sure that those posts go to the top of the page. And the more comments that you get on a post, the more likely that it is to succeed. So let's see, I focus, I did my Twitter one, and you'll see here that, let's say I go to Twitter, you'll see that, we also have character count here. So you'll be able to see that if we go over the character count, it will actually go into the negative, which is pretty sweet. So we're watching out for you on that one as well. And I'm going to change my text here too, just to be a little different. And also, Twitter and Instagram love hashtags. If I could, just doing this on my own and trying to build up my own business, and it's not really a business, it's just a side for fun for me. But once I started adding hashtags to Twitter and Instagram, I mean, my followers blew up. So I definitely recommend that. So I'm adding the hashtags.
And these variations that Abby is talking about, usually in general, we suggest, changing the message at least slightly for each of the individual platforms. And she's mentioned it, all of the platforms have these different functionalities or different things they're meant for. Like Instagram is more visual, and Twitter has those short character counts. And so that's why you really want to take the time to make these slight adjustments that Abby is showing us, because it can really help you to make a connection. And plus, the people on those individual platforms, Instagram, I think typically those users are a little bit younger, whereas LinkedIn is probably a little bit older and a little bit more mature in terms of the audience that is actually on that platform as well. So go through,
Right.
take the time to at least make a few adjustments.
Totally, exactly. Thank you. I was going to say for Twitter, it's my focus here is more towards the professionals. I see more professionals on Twitter than I do, but sometimes there's educators, like my daughter's school, like they're all over Twitter. So I got that, that's also there. Kind of the older generation and Facebook, and then Instagram is pictures and younger generation. But you got to hit them all. It's great to be out there on all of them. So the next thing I wanted to show you is the fact that you can create all these posts at one time. You can save this as a draft, or you can post now, or you can schedule it for later. So you can just choose this toggle, pick a date and a time that you think is appropriate, that you want to send it. And then really what this is, what's great about this is that you can go in and spend an hour on whatever time that you have and build out your social post for the next 2 or 3 days. Given this environment and how things are changing so frequently, I would definitely go back and make sure that you check the posts that you were scheduling to make sure they're still relevant. But even then, just making sure that you keep up with posting that content, like Patrick was saying, is that you can post two times a day now. Like, it's not considered abnormal anymore, because we want, Facebook is looking for that content, and it's gonna get bubbled up these days. So super important. We love the scheduling for later. So I'm gonna schedule that post, and then I'll just show you super quickly. What comes up is this one's scheduled, but once your posts start running, they're live, you'll be able to see all of the impressions, the reach, the engagements that you're getting across all of these posts. And then you can click on each one of these. There'll be like a little ellipsis here, and you can go directly to the native network and see where that post is. It's pretty awesome. And you can see a preview. So, and then we'll go back to the social tab, and that's for creating posts. And then I just need somebody to comment on my posts for me, but I need to post it. So let's
Waiting for it to load up here, and then I'll make a comment so that we can see it in the inbox section there.
All right. So you now can see that you can unschedule posts. And you can see my draft right back in it. And we are going to post now, which will be awesome. So here we go, post now. So great. So you'll also see here that I have a preview of what my post, so you always have that. You'll see the preview of your post. And then if you go back to the social tab, you'll see that you can go to, I'll walk through some of these while my team interacts with my post. But so you can see here on this post tab, these are all the posts that I posted in the past, weeks or months. And you can see, like, I've got all of you can see my impressions, my reach, my engagements on all of these. Any of these I can click into and check them out. This is one of the ones that I posted a few weeks back. And you can see that, some daffodils, and I got some comments. Didn't do that well, but I could have probably done a better job. Oh, but look at this. So now I have some comments on my posts that I just posted. So this is really cool. All right, so let's go into the first one. So what I wanted to show you is you can see that clearly that these are posts that these are responses or comments to posts. Things that are in here that we capture from Facebook and Instagram are comments, messages, mentions, and follower posts. So that's pretty neat. And so anytime any of those interactions come in from Facebook or Instagram, we capture them here. So you don't have to leave and go back and forth between Facebook and Instagram and manage that conversation. You could actually manage that whole entire conversation from here. And you'll see the difference. Like, this one is the response to my Facebook one. This is a response to my Instagram one. And I can go right in here and choose view conversation. And you'll see that this nice lady, Rachel Pratt, has written me back, and she said, definitely have to prune my plants. They get out of control. I totally understand. And I can write back to her right here. And I can even add some emojis. We have emoji support, which is really nice. And I could add an image if I wanted to too. I can reply right back from this page. Oh, and I have somebody here that says, I vote not to prune. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. I like them wild. So this is just great because, you can, if you're at your computer and you have this time, especially right now, it's nice to have all of these interactions from both Facebook and Instagram up on one screen. So they just keep coming in, which is awesome. I love it. So I think besides the analytics tab, and I can show you guys that really quick. Hopefully my audience has grown, but this is the analytics tab, and basically what it is it's a combination of my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages, and it tells my entire audience. So yes, I know 211 is not that great, but for me it is. But my audience growth, it's grown 4.4% over the past 7 days. and you can see the growth and you can see each individual, like the follower count for each individual network, which is really great. For Facebook and Instagram, it's really awesome. They give us demographics. They give us age and gender demographics, so you can actually see what your follower demographic breakdown is, which is, I think that's awesome, and it can help you cater your message to a particular demographic. Like if you're, I obviously skew heavily female. Maybe I want to get my male audience up, so I start posting a little bit more, some other things about, maybe digging, or who knows, I don't want to generalize. But and then you can also see, where in which your followers live. So I've got a bunch of followers over, I've got some over there in California, but most of mine are in Pennsylvania, which is where I'm from, and most are in Massachusetts, which is where I live. So really cool information about your users and your followers. So I think that's all I have. Was there anything else that I missed, Stephanie, that I might need to cover?
No, I think you covered it for this, and I know we've got a lot of questions that we'll try to get to here in just a
Okay,
couple of minutes. I'm going to actually take the controls back, and
great.
I do want to start to wrap up just a bit here. Perfect. Let me just make sure everybody can see my screen here.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, so before we get to the Q&A, I just want to wrap up and recap a few things so that you have a few things to walk away with today. Now more than ever, people are online. So it really is important to be there and communicate, engage, and that can also help you to indirectly sell things in a lot of cases. Now, while not all of your posts need to be about the crisis, and we're probably about a month in for most of us here, it still is important to be sensitive about the situation, whether you're marketing or sharing a blog post or some tips like Abby for pruning a plant. You just want to make sure that you're being helpful with the information and you sound reassuring and even trying to create a few diversions for people right now. And then last but not least, don't forget to check out these great social tools that Abby has demoed within the Constant Contact account. You really can take account of what's happening in your area, start to create those posts, keep up with the comments and interact and engage with people. And you can do that all from within this platform without having to log out and log back into all of those different accounts. And even if you're using email and any of our other really great tools, it just keeps everything in one place. So before we get to these questions, I do just want to put this information up here one more time and have Rachel share the link to the Small Business Support Kit for all of those great resources and even more webinars out there. So let's go ahead and get to all of these really great questions that we've got. All right. So this first question that we're seeing here comes from Shira. I hope I said that name correctly. What about suggestions for businesses that don't have an online presence? What do you think about that one, Patrick?
Yeah, I think the simple answer is get one, right? So I think going back to what I said way earlier, there are things I would tell you 6 months ago, I'd tell you 6 months from now. This is one of those things. If your business or your side hustle or your nonprofit doesn't have a website, you really need to have one this day and age. And it doesn't have to be too hard. So I know we said we have these great social tools here, but we actually also have a website builder at Constant Contact, and you can make one for free. So there's a ton of tools that we have available to expand your online presence. And so, definitely get that up, get that running, so you can start getting, traffic there and build a community within your website.
I definitely agree. And we'll have Rachel, I don't know if you have the ability to go out and grab a link to the Making Sense of Online Marketing. That will just go through all of the different tools and why you need all of these different tools. So I would suggest taking a look at that. And if you want to share it with all of the entire audience, I think a lot of people could find value in that right now.
And actually,
Now, this,
sorry, I was just say one
sure, go
additional
ahead.
thing I forgot to mention that I've heard a lot that I feel like is relevant is a lot of folks who, maybe their business is shut down or maybe they they're just in a position where they actually have a little bit more time now than they've had before. They've said this is a great time to finally catch up on those things they said they wish they had done, that they just didn't do before. So, maybe you can turn a negative into a positive, and take this time where you might have some headspace to put some effort into things that you've wanted to do, and this could be one of them.
Definitely. And, if you don't really have an online presence, having a website like Patrick was talking about and using social media, you can drive traffic there so that you can get your sales. You can drive traffic to blog posts that are on your website. Really, a lot of great things can happen by having all an online presence in general. Now, this next question comes from Renee. Is posting throwbacks to happier times insensitive right now?
I say no, but again, I'm watching webcams of beaches all the time. So, I really do think we've hit the apex on, coronavirus specific type content, and where, yes, if you have something to add, please add it. But if you have a diversion, please give me that too. So I love Throwback Thursdays. I actually, thinking again about travel, and probably this was because 4 days after we all went remote at Constant Contact and we all got shut in our houses, I was supposed to go on vacation, and so that got canceled. But the hotels actually that I was going to stay at, I follow them on Instagram, and they've just been posting Throwback Thursdays all the time, and I'm like, oh yes, I can't wait to have cocktail in my hand, sit by the pool. So I say yes, please do post that stuff.
Hey, I'm right there with you, Patrick, and I would probably say a lot of the audience is right now. If you all want to raise your hand if you're looking for those forward to a nice vacation after all of this, and raise your hand in there. Me too. Now, this next one comes from Sang. I hope I said that correctly. I own a service business. I don't have a social media set up yet. Which social media do you propose to create first? I just set my business up this February.
So on this one, I guess I'm not, it would be, if you can let us know exactly what kind of service business you have, Sang, that would be great, and maybe I can tailor it a little bit further. But basically, almost always you want to start with Facebook, and there's a couple reasons there, right? One, it's a little bit of the easiest to use. You're probably using it as a consumer now, so you understand the experience of it. So having a page there is going to make a lot of sense. And then I would say number two, it's the biggest, right? There's literally multiple billions of people on the platform worldwide. So the audience that you have to talk to is going to be the biggest of any of the platforms. And then I would say third, if you do get in that space where you want to do advertising, Facebook advertising is both the most mature and probably the easiest to run. So you get all three things like really quickly by just being on Facebook. Also, Instagram is a Facebook property, so you kind of get forced in over time, if you want to say run ads on Instagram, having to have both. So your trickle down is kind of like start with Facebook, get Instagram, and then maybe if you're B2B, you go to LinkedIn. If you're not B2B, you go to Twitter, and it kind of trickles down from there.
I think that's some good information that can cover a lot of different businesses. Did you have something to add there, Abby?
Oh no, I was just going to agree completely with Patrick and just saying that you know being on Facebook, and then if you want to run ads, and we support all of that in Constant Contact, so you could actually do it all within us, which is awesome. And you can run an ad on both Facebook and Instagram, and not even have an Instagram account if you want to. And yeah, so I would suggest that as well.
Great. This next one comes from Kathy. I am a travel agent with no reservations coming up. Just doing cancellations and changing trip dates. What do you recommend I market? I think you had a few tips in there, but I don't know if there was anything more specific you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, I just keep, it's weird because I said do Throwback Thursday, so market the past, but I would also say market the future. And there's actually another kind of question in there, and I feel like these actually lop together. Somebody was asking about how you market massage therapy without sounding desperate for support. And I would say that the answer to both of these things is yes, market the future. So in the case of travel, get somebody to start thinking they're going to travel. Travel is going to, like, as soon as, there'll be a slight uptick, I would say, as people's confidence in, say, going on airlines and things like that ramps back up. But as soon as it's kind of all clear, or we feel a confidence level, I think travel is going to be bigger than ever, because we're all just going to want to get out. So you got to prepare your business for that moment in time. And you're going to be busier than you've ever been before. So what can you do to get ahead of being busy and capitalize on all that business you're hopefully going to be getting? On the massage therapy side, it's like, maybe your post says, um, when this is all said and done, you're going to earn that massage, right? And so get them to buy a gift card, and make sure they're ready to treat themselves before, when this is all there. And again, this is maybe just me, but I want to buy both of those things when this is over. So I think there's probably a lot more people like me out there.
I would agree. And that gift card idea is something I've seen for a lot of different types of businesses, the salon, massage therapy. You could probably even do a restaurant, or tons of different ideas out there. Now, this next one is from Jacqueline. Where do you find all of those awesome photographs to use? Do you have to purchase those?
So there are lots of stock photographs in my library now for use, but the photograph that I use in particular was one from a blog, and that blog I was advertising. So the good thing is that when you share URLs like that, sometimes is that the preview that comes with it is a picture from that blog. So you can reuse someone else's content if you're giving them the credit for it. If you're sharing a link, then that's okay. Otherwise, I take a lot of photos, and they don't have to be perfect, but that's why what's great about the iPhone 11, right? Or our iPhones these days, or our cameras these days, is that you can take a great picture with just what your phone, and upload it. And I think people appreciate that. But if you're going to be on Instagram, yeah, definitely want to think about the great photos that you are using. And we also have stock photos to purchase as well, but we do have a good amount of free as well.
Great. Yeah, we do always say, if you have your own photos, use them in all of your marketing materials, because that's going to be best related to you, your business, your customers. But Patrick, I don't know if you have any suggestions on stock photo sites. I know there's tons of paid stock photos that you can get out there, and then there's also tons of free ones if you just go out there and Google. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say, like I said, we have some within Constant Contact, but one of the places I go a lot is Unsplash. So it's a royalty-free image site, and professional photographers put a lot of images up there, and they're just beautiful. They're really great to work with. That's a place I would start. As for taking your own photos, I actually say yes, do it. Number one, don't be afraid if the quality isn't perfect. Again, I've seen CEOs of multi-billion-dollar companies make videos for their companies right now with their iPhone in their living room. So I think we're all getting used to this idea that quality doesn't matter over the quantity. Again, on Instagram, slightly different story. But my big pro tip, my fun pro tip, I don't know if you can actually see me, is, but before you take your photo, just wipe the lens on your shirt, then take the photo, and I swear to goodness, the quality of the photo goes up. So try that, and everything will be better, I promise.
Good tip there. I like that. I don't think we typically think about that until we uploaded our image into the computer and it's really big and we're like, oh, there's a nice smear there. So good point. So Shariette says, I feel like my company is oversharing on COVID updates. I've been asked to send email updates and post twice a week. Is this too much?
Based on what you've written, it does feel like it might be a little too much. I guess it depends on what the nature of those communications are, right? If everything is kind of just like, well, hey, everybody's talking about coronavirus and COVID, you should be out there talking about coronavirus and COVID, but we don't have anything to add to the kind of narrative going on, then I would say, yes, that's overkill. But if you've got pertinent information, then probably not. Again, demand for content is really high. I remember working with one of our social media partners at one time. They said there's a subset of users, I forget exactly what they call them, but they were like thumb scrapers, they called them. It was people who would get to the end of a feed and keep refreshing, right? Because they just wanted more and more to keep coming. So they would pull down on the phone to get more and more content. And I think we're there right now. So again, putting a lot of content out is not necessarily the issue I would worry about. It's just whether or not that content really is relevant and helpful and insightful, or if it's just kind of jumping on to jump on.
Yeah, don't just jump on to jump on. I think that's a good point there. Now, Charmaine asks, my board of trustees wants me to put on Facebook instructions for online giving, but it seems tacky to me to create a post and pin it so that that's the first thing people see. I don't see where else to do it. What do you think?
I don't think it's too tacky. I mean, I think in this moment in time, you can really be okay with guiding people a little bit further, push their hand toward that donate button. Maybe before a pin, well, let me give you the honest answer. If you post something up to Facebook and you pin it to Facebook, the reality of it being like the first thing someone sees is not too real. Like there's not a ton of people who are trafficking in on going to profile pages. They're often seeing the content in their feed or they're seeing it embedded elsewhere. So like I wouldn't be too worried. Sometimes you got to play the game. I get it. I wouldn't be too worried if you need to do that to appease your team. That being said, I do think the content you've described is okay. Like I would absolutely want you to be putting out posts that are asking for donations. Maybe you're putting out posts with more volume. You might also want to consider using what's the Facebook CTA button. So there's a little blue button on your page, and maybe right now it says visit website or sign up for email, or I'm not sure what you're using yours for now, but you can make that button just say don't, give now or donate. I think there's a donate function in there, and then have the link go into your donation page. And that's actually probably a little bit of a better set of real estate based on how people use Facebook on mobile to get people into a donation flow. So I would recommend going those paths, but if this is more of like a politically question, I would say don't worry too much about like a pinned post looking obtrusive, because the volume of people seeing that as they come to your page is probably not too high.
Yeah, most of them are probably seeing it in the news feed. So we're right at the top of the hour. Let's try to answer one more questions. I know we have so many that we're not going to get to at the moment. Can we capture the demographics if we use constant contact for the social media post? Maybe that one's for you, Abby.
Yep, so the demographics information is only based off of the people that follow your page. Facebook does not allow us to, or anyone for that matter, to you can't get demographic information on a post itself, just because of the nature of how many people may like your post or share your post. It's just too small, and they don't give us information on individuals. So, but we do have information on your followers.
Great, thanks,
That's
Abby.
shared on the analytics tab. Sorry.
Nope, you're good. So I know we didn't get to all of the questions. Keep an eye out for the follow-up email that has the recording. We're going to include a link in there into the community where we're going to try to spend some more time over the next several days answering more of the questions that have come in. And also, Patrick has opened himself up on his Twitter account. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can shoot Patrick a message on there, AP Galuli, if I said that correctly, and get your questions answered there. He's more than happy to help out. We do also have our Twitter handle for Constant Contact here. We've got tons of people in all these different places that are willing and able to help you. And also, if you need help getting set up with your social media tools in your Constant Contact account, go ahead and give our support team a call. We've got call and chat options, as well as the knowledge base, where you can click on the help link at the top right of your account, and you can go in and search our FAQs and see tutorials and tons of really great information. So I want to thank you all so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure having both Abby and Patrick here with us today. You provided so much great insight and expertise to us, even myself. So I want to thank you again, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.